Hi, and welcome back to Tea Leaves Programming. Today we are gaming like it's 1979, continuing our Let's Play of the classic Cliff Johnson puzzle game 3 in 3. So we left off here, and we had finished a number of puzzles, but we're just scratching the surface of the game. So we have to choose a new puzzle at this point because we're at a sort of dead end here. And I remember Account for Yourself being very bad. So let's just pick something in the middle. How about Safety in Numbers? I don't know what Safety in Numbers is, but we'll figure it out as we go along. Well, it looks like Safety in Numbers was just a scene that opened up another puzzle. So once again, we have one of these puzzles where the letter on top of the elevator determines what the move it's going to do is, but it's different depending on which elevator it is. And I expressed my frustration in part one of this playthrough with these puzzles because I feel like the right way to solve them is to very carefully make a big matrix of all the possible moves. And the way I actually solve them is, since it's 3 moves to win, it's actually quicker, I find, to brute force it. So the question here is, do I do one or do I do the other? All right, since this is a Let's Play, all right, I'm going to try to not brute force this. Actually, I'm literally going to open an editor window. I'm not going to put it on screen, but I'm going to open an editor window and write down what the moves are and see if I can logic this one out. I am going to cut to do this. I'm not going to make you sit here and watch while I write, but I'm going to give it a go. So let me see here. Trust in us. All right, so we've got first elevator, S. So, and clearly, does R? That's not very, that doesn't give me a lot of wisdom. I would guess that trust has to be what we're spelling. I mean, I don't know what else we could spell with these letters. All right, so S, if T is on the elevator, nothing. So that move is eliminated because we just wouldn't do that at all. Okay, on the second elevator, S swaps with position 5, right? Okay, so as long as we're doing that, how about T on the second elevator? Moves 1 to the right. Or swaps 1 right. 5th. So what happens if S is on the 5th elevator? Swaps with the second position. So that kind of eliminates S on this elevator. Well, it doesn't necessarily eliminate it. So if we want to spell trust, then what we really want is we want the S to be here. Okay, so let's continue this way. How about U on the 4th elevator? Swap with 5. T on the 4th elevator swaps with 3. U on 5 Wasn't that what happened here too? It was, I think. No. T swaps with 4. I haven't done anything with the third elevator. Okay. So R swaps with 2. T goes to the end, huh? Wait a minute. Try that again. T is a no-op, essentially. It might be swapping with 5, and that's why it seems like a no-op. Let's try doing this. Yeah, it is. That's what's happening. What haven't I done yet? Okay, I haven't done R and the second elevator. Swap with 1. S on the second elevator should swap T that position 5, and it does. Okay. Okay, so that puts the T in the right position. And on our third elevator, we have the R. If we hit this, it will get the R into the right position. The R, and so what we want is to swap with the fourth elevator. And I don't have anything written down that does that. But I also have not yet cataloged what happens with S on the third elevator. And that gives us the right answer. I gotta tell you... Alright, I have a speech to make. I feel like I'm being super hard on the game. I feel like I'm being critical. I'm well aware that like every puzzle that's come up, I've been kvetching about how I don't like it. Part of this is that I've had 20 years to think about these puzzles, actually more at this point, I think. And games have moved on, games have changed. Part of it, I think, is a legitimate mismatch between how the author thought people would solve these puzzles versus how most people, I'm arrogating the title of most people to myself, actually solve them. Even though I wrote down a bunch of moves, I still feel like I effectively brute force this. So I want to make clear, though, that even though I'm kvetching, I am here playing because I wanted to play the game again. It has managed to get its hooks into my head. And so just please take with a grain of salt. When I complain, I'm complaining with love. All right. Let's get back to the story. Ah, now this is a puzzle that is both great and also is a great example of overstaying its welcome. These are called meshes. Now this thing is not working, whatever it is. So this is a case where if we click on the 3, it will show us what the solution is. This is essentially a 2-dimensional Rubik's Cube. Everything kind of wraps around whichever side you're going. We can move the pieces vertically or horizontally as oriented by this mesh. And if we move them, like if we move this light square off the bottom, it's going to appear on the top there. So if I recall correctly, this is basically arranged in this one as a gradient with light down here in the lower right and dark up there in the upper right. So we will try and... Again, this one definitely lends itself to brute forcing. As they get more complicated, you do need to kind of develop these Rubik's Cube-like strategies. So, for example, we want to swap these two in position. So what we're going to do, let's see, I gotta remember how we do this. I think we move this one to the side to kind of store this one here. And then we're going to move this up. We're going to push this one back, pull it down, pull it back over. I know that was probably a little bit confusing. It's hard to put into words what I'm doing. Again, I think of this as the kind of assembly language instruction: store something, swap it, restore it, right? And here we want to swap these two, and that should solve the puzzle. So again, how do I do this? We're going to store this over here, push this down, push that back, pull that up, restore it. Is that right? No, I think, yeah, that's right. No, I've managed to screw up. Okay. Now I've managed to transfer my swapping problem to two others. Let's try it again. Clearly I'm getting something wrong here. What do I want to do? The problem is that I'm going to side effect these two. Let's do it this way. Down, over, up, over. Now I've totally confused myself and made things worse. Can I undo? I cannot undo. All right, let's try this again. There we go. Yeah, I definitely don't have the correct swap algorithm in my head yet. I'll get there, probably when we get to the next mesh. This one really lends itself to brute forcing. The more complicated meshes do not. You have to master that swap to pass all of these meshes. I don't remember if they get up to like 8x8 or 10x10 or something like that. We'll see. And I think this is a clue for the metagame at the end of the game. All right, another mesh. I better start practicing my swaps. Okay, so we've got the light squares in the corners, the medium light squares in the center, and then the dark ones on the edges. So what's the best way to put this one together? Starting with the light squares feels like a trap, frankly, because then you're going to end up, yeah, exactly in that position there. So how do I do this? Let's put together, how do we do that? Right, and you could, in some cases, you could use the wrapping to protect you here. So I think we're like one move away here, or one swap away. If I go up there, I think that's it. All right. The 3 has a lot of personality for a mere number. I think, if I predict correctly, the next one's going to be a mesh 2, in which case I might switch to a different puzzle line. Yes. Let's take a peek at the puzzle names to see how many of these meshes there are. Okay, there's these 2 that we've already finished. 3 is the one we're on. 4, 5, 6. 6 meshes. Do I dare to do this one too? All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish this mesh, and then I'm going to context switch to a different line of puzzles, because I think if this video is all meshes, it's a little much. All right. Kind of doing this one by feel. right? It's like that. And then I think that was there. Was that the... Yeah, and now it's a question of populating all of these. Right, this feels like, okay, so this, actually, we're very close, aren't we? And so if I can just swap these two, which I should be able to do. There and there. Yeah, I don't know if you saw what I did there. That's, again, I have such trouble putting this into words. I'm sure I was always terrible at Rubik's Cubes, and I'm sure that those of my viewers out there who are adept at Rubik's Cubes have... The Rubik's Cube solving community must have a word for what I just did. And if you know it, please say in the comments, because I've never learned it formally. All right, another mesh. I'm going to switch here. Let's look at a different set of meshes. Okay, that one's on 3. It's meshed up. We'll come back to it later. Let's look at... I think Meltdown is just a scene. And then it takes us somewhere else. I meant the word U, not the letter U. Lots of wordplay in this game. Oh, I love this one when we did it the first time. So we have a sentence here, and again, if you haven't played 3 and 3 and you don't want to spoil it, I don't know what to tell you. You're watching the wrong video. This is a sentence that has no vowels in it, and I can't tell you whether I would have solved this instantly in 1989. I kind of think I would have. So I'm not typing any spaces. You just type the vowels and the consonants. We get out of sight, out of mind. And this is one where how much you've read. I mean, this requires knowledge of English, this puzzle, because it's not merely English language. It's actually English idioms. And if you don't speak those idioms, many of these things I don't think would be easy to recognize. This is, I can tell just by looking at it, to err is human, to forgive divine. Again, if you've never heard that phrase, that idiom, I don't think you would ever solve this. And so this puzzle is very unfair to non-native speakers. But maybe, you know, it's a puzzle game. Puzzles in one's native language are a thing, so we shouldn't feel bad about that. No news is good news. Curiosity killed the cat. Sometimes your brain suggests incorrect answers, like this one I look at, and I read it as nothing sucks like success. But of course, it's nothing succeeds like success. He who hesitates is lost. I appreciate that a typo doesn't reset your status, because I'm not the best typist. So here's a good one. If you look at that, you might think friend in need is a friend indeed, but the first letter of that aphorism is A friend in need. Is, and there's another in the middle. Every dog has his day. And if it looks like, again, I'm going to repeat this whenever I get to one of these. If it looks like I'm solving these too easily, I've played the game 1,600 times, right? Waste not, want not. The early bird catches the worm. Little strokes fell great oaks. Oh, I'm typing something wrong here. No, it's just a typo. This is an idiom I don't think I've ever heard anywhere except in this game. So maybe that puts the lie to my claim that you need to have heard the idioms. Bats in the belfry? No. Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. You would think I would know that one, since I do have an ongoing Let's Play of Eye of the Beholder. Please check it out if you have not yet seen that. Charity begins at home. It's an interesting question. How does one's brain recognize these things? It feels like, there's not an algorithm being applied. It's pattern recognition kind of oozing its way to the right answer. Two heads are better than one. I could tell you for this one, it was the BTTR. My brain said that's got to be better. And then from then I kind of built it out. Let's focus on the next one and ask that question. How are we getting to the answer? DNT don't. LK look. And at that point, don't look. It's got to be don't look a gift horse in the mouth. I'm barely even looking at the rest of the sentence. Look. BFR before, then working outwards. Look before you leap. And interesting that YOU is all vowels. If we take Y as a vowel. I don't really in that case. In fact, I'd argue that's this puzzle cheating. Y is only sometimes a vowel, and I would say that in the word YOUU, it's not a vowel. It should be there. Familiarity, spelled right, breeds contempt. Okay, so here, I don't know what that first word is. S has got to be is. TH has got to be the. So something is the root. F of A, all. VL, evil. This has got to be money is the root of all evil. So I got there without actually figuring out that MN was money. I kind of back solved it. GLVS, gloves, catches. A cat in gloves catches no mice. I think that's also an aphorism or idiom that I've never heard outside of this game. Still waters run deep. Never the something without the throne? Maybe? Never the rose without the thorn. That's a good one. An apple a day keeps the doctor away. I solved that one by seeing PPL. That's weird. And then I see DCTR, doctor, doctors, apples. Then the whole phrase comes back. Every dark cloud has a silver lining. Dark cloud jumped out at me there. This one just, like all at once I see that and see all that glitters is not gold. And to be fair, I think there are fewer vowels in this phrase, so your brain can just kind of like fill them in very easily. In fact, literally, there's one vowel missing from each word. I think that's a pretty easy case. Similarly, a picture is worth 1,000 words. Little things affect little minds. Never heard that one either. Strike while the iron is hot. Journalische is something is bliss. Ignorance is bliss. Misery loves company. And no trick to these, I'm just recognizing them. If the shoe fits, wear it. Read that one left to right. Necessity is the mother of invention. By the time, if you get necessity, the rest of that idiom has to be obvious. Two wrongs don't make a right. I was told by Sam, one of our viewers, that in a previous one of these, one of the letter ones, the ones where you make a cab crab, that one, which I don't remember the name of it. I'm not going to look it up now. I was having trouble with one of them, and he was just shouting at the screen, you know, you dope, it's so obvious. So hopefully here, I'm going to try and like not cause you to do that. Although, maybe that's good YouTube. I don't know. One good turn deserves another. Once you get good turn. That's a very famous idiom. Nothing ventured, nothing gained. Can practically read that one. A rolling stone gathers no moss. Once you get rolling. Beggars can't be choosers. I think also part of this puzzle is once you recognize that it's idioms, which I think you do by like the second or third clue, your search space for figuring out what these things are just gets a lot smaller. Haste makes waste. Rome was not built in a day. Variety is the spice of life. For that one, I think spice was the first word I identified. Here, SQK has to be squeaky, and from there, it's the squeaky wheel gets the grease. How many of these are there? Birds of a feather flock together. Too many cooks spoil the broth. How many of us live that in our jobs? Good fences make good neighbors. Trying to do that little Pepperidge Farm remembers voice. New England guy, better late than never. A good aphorism for describing me playing 3 and 3 on the channel. What goes up must come down. Better safe than sorry. A stitch in time, spelled right, saves 9. 9 what? 9 stitches? Don't judge a book by its cover. You realize after this is over, I'm going to have to go to Wikipedia and look up a stitch in 9 saves 9. A stitch in time saves 9. To find out what that means to save 9 stitches. What's a stitch in time? I guess, okay, sorry, I'm now, to heck with the game, I gotta worry about this. Stitches are often used to support things, to provide, to keep something from ripping. And so maybe what they're saying there is if you stitch it ahead of time to provide enough strength to whatever this fabric is trying to do, you would need 9 stitches later to protect it. All right, no, I'm going to look it up right now. Please hold. According to phrases.org.uk, it's the prompt sewing up of a small hole or tear in a piece of material, so saving the need for more stitching at a later date when the hole has become larger. Clearly, they were referring to saving 9 stitches. So there you go. I guess that's obvious, and I feel embarrassed that it wasn't more obvious to me. But actions speak louder than words. Blood is thicker than water. In this one, thicker built and then built out from the center. And as you know, only the letter A can form a one-letter word. Uh-oh. This, I believe, is a clue for the end game. Uh-oh. I did a lot of these last week, so I might skip this one and try and find a different thread also. I feel like I'm very conscious that if I'm doing 20, 30 hours of gameplay, I'm going to lose a lot of people along the way. I'm going to lose people in the first 5 minutes. So I want to try and get as much variety into the early hours of this gameplay as possible. Yeah, so this is one of those. So let's go somewhere else. Let's go to outside in. Oh, but this is interesting. Why is that? Hello. Okay, so I said that this was just a scene. This is kind of weird. I guess it's a puzzle game, so it's okay for there to be mysteries. I think most people would watch that scene, see that the scene brought you somewhere else, and say, I guess there was no puzzle there. But if you go back, there's a puzzle, so let's do it. We'll read the instructions. These letters represent a familiar concept. Enter the remaining letters to complete the series. All right, can you guess what this is? Let's look. I think I see the answer for this one, but I'm gonna slow walk it so you have a chance to solve it. OTTFFS. So I think that what this represents is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, in which case we would have S for 7, E for 8, N for 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. That's right. Similarly, how about this one? T, F, S, E, T, T. I'm trying to do my best Will Shortz on wait, don't tell me voice. I think this is maybe 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24, 26. Oh, now this one, the first two, those jumped out at me. This one, I don't know. Maybe I'll read them out loud. T, S, N, T, F, E. Maybe 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 18. So counting by threes. And then 21, 24, this is probably all T's, right? At that point. Another dead end. Okay, so it did turn into a dead end. And if we go up here, it's going to say select another scene. Okay, let's go to outside in. I think this is one that I hated. Yeah, I hate this one. Oh, do I really want to do this? All right, it's different than most of the ones we've done, so I think I have to do it. This is another one. Let me get out my editor. Is there a way to reset here before I begin? There is a reset. Good. Close all 24 security doors. The task can be done in 12 unique moves. That's a lot of moves. It is important to know which doors affect which other doors. All right, fine. Gonna number them. At least there's a reset. Gonna take some notes here. Okay, so door number 1. What are these? Let's number them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So 1, side effects, 1, 6, and 9. And does it affect the same doors when they open? No, it doesn't. Bite me. Okay, so it looks like It's interesting we could rotate back to the beginning. How many moves did that take? 4, which makes sense. So on close, it does 1, 6, and 9. On open, it does 1, 8, and 11. Okay. Let's do 2. 2, 8, and 10. And on open... Oh, crap. My numbering is entirely wrong because there's all of this. All right, I'm sorry. I don't have the patience for this one. I'm going to come back to it. In part because I'm going to have to write down literally what every move does to do this correctly, and that's going to be boring to watch. So I will write down the moves offline, and then once I have all the moves written down, I will come back and do this on screen. Maybe in the next episode. Let's move on. Okay. And this is another open all the security doors, so I'm going to skip it. Ooh, these are fun. All right, so this is a variant of what I've heard called the dining philosopher's problem, where you're given some items or people and a bunch of constraints. And the dining philosopher's problem, it's like Aristotle wants to drink white wine, but does not want to be seated next to Plato and should be across from the person eating lamb. There's an entire series of games in this world made by Everett Kaiser. And in fact, I did an interview with Everett Kaiser, and I will put a link to said interview somewhere on screen right about now. And so he has these games: Sherlock, Dinner with Moriarty, Honeycomb Hotel. At this point, there's tens of them, and they're all fantastic, and you should go give Everett Kaiser all of your money. These games play on Mac and Windows, and I think there might even be Linux versions of them now. All right, so let's take a look at what we've got here. And how do we get the clues? Okay, so clicking on things swaps them. Show next false, show next true, forward and reverse. All false statements must be changed into true statements. There's an interesting way to provide these. So is there anything that's true right now? So we've got these three in the same row. That's currently our only constraint that we are satisfying. And let's see how many of these are. So we'll use this as our starting point, and Command W moves us forward. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 rules. All right. So do we want to start with the most complex rules or the simplest ones? Right? Because that's pretty easy. Has to touch 4 other boxes. That's a great constraint because that means it can only be here, here, or here. No. Yeah. That's right. Well, let's just move it there for right now. And now that's on our true list. And we can see that these 2 rules kind of conflict with each other. Like if I wanted this to touch other 4 boxes but be on this row, I would have to move this like there. Right? And now both of those rules are still true. Oh, and we luckily got another one at the same time. Let's see if there's anything to do with this asterisk that tells us where it belongs. Nope, that asterisk, that's the only rule it's used in. I have a feeling we'll come back to that. All right, let's look at the next false one. This touches the west side of the period. False. Okay, so that tells us a few things right away. First of all, since we know that these 3 symbols are in the same row, and if this touches the west side of this, it has to be in the same row also. That tells us that these three are in the correct row. And it tells us that either there's a gap between the dot and either of these guys, or that the dot is here in this position, because this would have to be on the west side. For right now, let's move our semicolon back up there, and let's move this dude over here. So now we have 4 true rules and 4 false rules. Okay, we want to have these 3 in the same column. Well, so far, there, now we have 5 true rules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So now it gets interesting. Question mark touches the south side of the dash. We can just do that. Now we should have 6 true rules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Good. So we have 2 false rules. These 3 are in the same row, and these 3 are in the same column. Same row is easy enough. We don't have any restriction on either of these two. And that should give us 7 true rules. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And 1 false rule. This is our only constraint. So how do we get these 3 things in the same column? Oh, I think I see it. There's nothing keeping this ampersand here, so we can do that. And again, there's nothing that applies to this quote. Really, part of solving this is figuring out which symbols have no rules applied to them. It would be an interesting way to revisit this, to go through all the rules and highlight those. I think this should be the winning move. All right. Oh, boo. That's a very dad joke. Select another scene. How long have I been recording for? Let's take a look. I think we're approaching, if I eliminate the bits of this where I was doing nothing, we're probably approaching 40 minutes or so. Let's do another one. And here we have, enter the correct words in a manner somewhat absurd. So again, I remember the trick to this one, but I don't want to spoil it right away. We have a crossword, and there are clues down here. We've got a private teacher, a flower from Holland. I mean, that has to be tulip, right? Grouped into one place, not sure what that is. This evening, usually I'd say, if I was talking about this evening, I'd say tonight. Skin growth, tumor. A Roman shirt is a tunic. A day of the week, could be anything, right? The day following today is tomorrow. So do you get it yet? And what's important here is this is called level 2. A private teacher is a tutor, but tutor doesn't fit, right? In a manner somewhat absurd, tutor, a flower from Holland, is a tulip. Grouped into one place, I'm not sure yet. This evening is tonight. Skin growth is a tumor. Roman shirt is a tunic. Day of the week has to be Tuesday. The day following day has to be tomorrow. And now we have this. That tells us that this is clearly optimism as the word. Grouped into one place. Well, every word so far has begun with the sound to. So if we keep that pattern, together. Okay, we must have We must have something. Oh, I misspelled tomorrow. All right. And interesting that these don't open up. There's got to be, I wonder if anyone's made like a mental map of how these things connect. Presumably Cliff Johnson did. But I mean like on the internet. Well, let's try level 4. And that brought us somewhere else. To another one of these. Let's switch back to level 4. And now we have a puzzle. The question marks are asking questions. We've got a weather prediction. Between your hairline and eyebrows is your forehead. Eternally, bury the hatchet, tennis stroke, to slip from memory, scientific recipe, a preface to a book, and to repossess a house. This is level 4. I think you get it. It's the forecast, forehead. I know I'm doing this one quickly because I remember it. I think I legitimately got this one right away when I was playing the first time. Forehand, to slip from memory, forget. These words do require, again, this is a puzzle that requires a pretty good command of English. Scientific recipe, I don't know, a formula. Preface to a book is a foreword. Might be forward, like so. That's going to be adventure. It's going to be foreclose. Adventure, optimism, these are some nice words. All right, let's do level 8, and then I think that's a good place to stop this second video. And then maybe the third video, in 2 weeks from whenever you're watching this, I will maybe use that to attack the rest of the meshes. Let's look at level 8. Some great sound effects in this game. And here we have another Dining Philosophers puzzle. But I wanted to... This would be a great one to do next week. But let's look at level 8. To apply oil to machinery. I mean, I'm not going to bother pretending that you don't see the pattern here. Lubricate, to get rid of, would be eliminate. To invent a tall tale, fabricate, maybe? To make electricity, generate. I'm going to do this because I'm being bold. I don't remember for sure that that's the word. To make cartoons move is to animate. To fill with air is to inflate. To blow up out of proportion. Exaggerate. To disappoint or thwart. Come back to that one. To shine light on. Illuminate. To refurbish old into new is renovate. No, that doesn't work. I would have said renovate. To furnish a home. Decorate. All right. So my imagination was wrong. So maybe this is renovate. And it's imaginative. All right, to disappoint or thwart. Well, we'll put the 8 at the end here again, trusting that it's following that pattern. Here's your chance to shout at the screen, because I'm drawing a blank on this. To disappoint or thwart. Frustrate. Very appropriate that would be the last clue for me to find on this puzzle. Oh, he's back. All right. All right, I did in fact do a time check. I have 51 minutes of recorded video, and I think that's a perfect length for a Let's Play video. So I'm going to stop here, and I am going to continue to publish these as I do them. They will be on the channel for early access. So if you really, really need to see these the instant they're done, then please join the channel as an early access member. We appreciate your support. If you don't want to do that, and I don't blame you if you don't, these will all eventually be made public on a schedule of about every 2 weeks. So since I just posted episode 1 a few days ago, that means that this one, episode 2, if you are not a member, you're watching it about 2 weeks from now. And I'm going to try and maintain that cadence. As those of you who watch this channel regularly know, I have a few completely unrelated topics that I cover. And right now what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to do a programming video on 1 week and then publish a gaming video the next week. So since this is a gaming video, you'll probably be seeing it about every 2 weeks. But I'm going to be recording them basically every weekend going forward, because I enjoy playing 3 and 3. So why not record as I play? So if you absolutely can't wait 2 weeks to see the next video, join the channel as an early access member and you'll see them even sooner. This has been Tea Leaves Programming. We've been gaming like it's 1979. Thanks for watching.